is real.
In the next 30 years, we're going to be passing through a very lumpy bit of this 30 million kilometer wide debris stream that's called the Taurid meteor stream. The comet that disintegrated, that caused so much damage on Earth 12,800 years ago, its debris stream is still in orbit. The Earth passes through it twice a year. We should be paying much more attention to that because it's not doom and gloom, because we can do something about it should we choose to do so. And, let's stop focusing all our efforts on fighting one another and hating one another and filling the world with anger and fury, and let's work together as a human species to make life on this planet better for everybody. That's what's going on now. There's a new mindset which is coming into force, and I celebrate the youth of our society today, because they are refusing to be bound by the orders that are given to them by the powers that be. There's a new spirit of thinking for ourselves, and that new spirit is, in my view, going to change everything. It seems like a dark time right now. A lot of stuff is going on. That's always the case when you're in the middle of a paradigm shift. It seems like a dark time, but we're privileged to live at this time, because 200-300 years from now, this time is going to be looked back on as a turning point in the human story.
I say that all the time. Just imagine where we would be if we weren't fighting each other. If we weren't competing against other countries to excel in areas of technology or defense, and instead we all just work together as a collective and just put all the most brilliant minds from around the world together to, help with free energy and help with, sustainability and space exploration, technology. Dude, we'd be so much further along. I think that's why ancient civilizations were so much further, I guess, technologically than we are, or at least presumably. Because you figure they were taught, if they were taught by the Anunnaki, they were taught to learn together and not be combative, at least to get shit done. The Anunnaki definitely went to war with each other, but that's beside the point. Just work together, man. It's teamwork. Team lift. # team lift.
This is the only evidence that 3 women witnessed the crucifixion of Christ and are still alive, and the most terrifying part, they are now being hunted. In 1897, a lost Vatican codex was accidentally discovered in the underground archives of St. Peter's Basilica. The text spoke of 3 women who had not been touched by time, witnesses to the crucifixion, guardians of a sacred secret. For centuries, no one took it seriously. But then the images began to appear, old photographs, wartime newspapers, records from revolutions, and in them, the same 3 women, identical, in different countries, with the same eyes, still deep and empty. In 2008, a Spanish historian managed to recover part of the codex. It read, "They swore to protect the blood of truth, but if they are found, the seal will break." Weeks later, he was found dead in his home, his face frozen in a forced smile, as if he had seen something divine or monstrous. In April of this year, the 3 women were seen for the last time in Jerusalem. Security cameras captured them walking toward the Western Wall and vanishing. At that exact moment, a mild earthquake shook the city. The ground split open, and something beneath it seemed to take a breath. Comment women for part 2.
Nope. Stop the cap. Bruh.
Visualize a can of Budweiser beer sitting on that desk. Sure enough, it would appear on that desk, and the guy could drink it and it didn't poison him.
But one of the weirdest things they noticed is that he could determine what time he wanted the thing to materialize.
He might concentrate at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The can of beer might appear 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night. By 1981, we had a working time portal.
Which leads us to August 5th, 1983, where orders were given to turn on the Montauk chair with Duncan in it and just leave it on, running continuously, and they just wanted to see what, if anything, would happen. So researchers, they followed the orders. Nothing out of the ordinary occurred. That is until 7 days later on August 12th, when a time portal opened up, and at the other end of this portal, they could see the actual USS Eldridge, the ship used 40 years prior during the Philadelphia experiment. And on the ship, they actually saw a second version of Duncan Edwards, the psychic they were using to avoid any time paradoxes. They actually had to hide the present day version of Duncan from visible sight. And here's what Preston Nichols said recalling this event. Things got so out of control, the contingency program was activated by someone approaching Duncan while he was in the chair and simply whispering the command, "The time is now." At this moment, Duncan let loose a monster from his subconscious, and the transmitter actually portrayed a hairy monster in real life. It was big, hairy, hungry, and nasty. It would eat anything it could find, and it smashed everything in sight. And the only way to get rid of the beast was to try to figure out how to cut the power to the chair. That way the chair would be turned off and hopefully this monster would disappear. So what they had to do is they had to go and cut the power line to the entire base, and when they finally got the power off, the monster and the madness seemingly stopped right then and there. After this incident, the project was terminated and all the researchers were debriefed, and using MK Ultra tactics, a lot of their memories of this incident and the entire project itself were wiped. The whistleblowers who have come forward today, they're coming forward because certain things that they happen to see or experience reminds them of their time there, and then memories start flooding back to them. But the story doesn't end there. 3 years after this incident occurred, someone went back and started snapping photos of the abandoned base. And in 1986, this photo right here was snapped. The person who snapped this photo claims that when they snapped it, that beast was definitely not there. As you can see, the monster created out of thought, the children being trained up as sidekicks, opening up portals to alternate dimensions. These are all running themes baked into the show Stranger Things. And what's funny is the original working title of the show before it was released to the public was actually Montauk.
All right, who else is excited for season 5, Stranger Things? Show of hands. I love that show. I love that it takes so many cues and elements from other movies, other horror movies, actual real life conspiracy theories, Dungeons and Dragons, like just so many things. Everything I love. Horror, conspiracies, nerdy, LARPing, RPGs. It's me, man. It's my shit. And nostalgia. Oh, good times. Great times. I am excited. Also, Montauk Project. Pretty fucking wild. Especially that Montauk monster that washed up on shore and they said it was like a deteriorating raccoon or something. Like, bro, no, that was weird. That thing had flippers. Flippers and a damn badger mouth.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Okay, I make a lot of AI videos and post them as TikToks and YouTube shorts, whatnot. But they're clearly AI. Clear. I'm like fighting Bigfoot or like ant people coming up from the ground and shit. So I don't make anything that is going to try to fool people. I think that's where AI gets a little tricky, a little scary, and a lot dangerous is people using it in order to trick people. It's super fun. I love AI. It's awesome. I think that there's a lot of benefits to using it, and there's going to be a lot of benefits to using it. In this case, I know it's kind of off topic here, as far as me just saying like, wow, that woolly mammoth was fake as fuck. It's fake as fuck, boy. But yeah, it was fake, and stop trying to fool people for clicks. It's like, come on, bro.
Because once you understand astrotheology and go back and look at where it came from and what it teaches, you will find astrotheology is the basis for all the religions in the world. But they've all misused it and misrepresented it. The whole story on the Bible about Jesus is a metaphor. It's a symbolic metaphor. And as long as you are reading the Bible, especially the New Testament, as history, you're never going to get it. It's not history. It's a metaphor. It's a symbolic story. It's called astrotheology. It's the most important subject the world's ever known. That's why the Bible's called the greatest story ever told. It's a story. It's the greatest story ever told. Why? Because it's the oldest story. It's astrotheology. The Bible is nothing more than astrology. It's an incredible story. You ask any 5-year-old, where's God? You point out there. Well, really? He's out there? Yeah. What do you call that out there? That's heaven. So God's out there in heaven, right? Yeah. Well, what does that mean? Is he extraterrestrial? He come from another planet? He's out there. The extraterrestrials, from what I gather from hearing, that they say to people, we're not God. We're just smarter than you are. We've been around 100 million years. You guys just fairly new. So we know all kinds of things. We can create creatures like you. But we're not God. That's different. That's something else is out there that we don't have no control over that.
That's exactly how I feel, man. I feel like every religion is just a series of stories created in a way to make them memorable. I feel like a lot of these stories were people just giving a point of view or like a first-person perspective on a event or scenario, seeing something that they don't understand. Maybe one of them seen a spaceship or a rocket ship and they called it a dragon or a chariot of fire. Maybe one of them saw a burning bush and it was actually like a bush that just happened to be set on fire due to the oils. I know there's a bush that basically has oils and the sunlight can catch the bush on fire and the bush doesn't actually burn. It's just the oils on the bush that burn, which keep it ignited without getting rid of the bush itself. I think that people have been eating psychedelics for a very, very, very long time. And I think that a lot of stories also were probably just like these spiritual experiences of like talking to God and seeing things and having epiphanies and being told what direction to go in life. And I think a lot of them were probably psychedelic experiences. People eating berries they shouldn't have, people eating mushrooms they didn't know they weren't supposed to, or in my case, I would think they were supposed to eat them, because I think that, mushrooms are awesome. I don't think every story is supposed to be taken literally. I think some of it probably did happen. Sure. Why not? I mean, every single culture, basically, since the beginning of time, has spoken of certain myths or certain stories like the Great Flood and the Ark, and stories like those that were told way before Christianity, way before Catholicism, that have been passed down and are still taught today. So I think in some cases things were, very real, but I think a lot of cases, as I said, a lot of them are not supposed to be taken literal. I think a lot of them are just metaphors and stories and lessons.
This is the Khajuraho Temple in India, and according to the mainstream, this was built between 885 and 1100 AD by the Chandela dynasty. Now, look at this. Remember, they're telling us that this was all hand done. No power tools, no cranes, no bulldozers, no lasers, nothing. Okay? Hand chisel. Look at all these people statues. There are 800 hand chiseled statues in this complex. This whole complex has about 85 monuments, or at least it was originally built with 85. Now there's only 25 of these tall things standing. Okay, guys, look. Take a gander. No lasers. This is hand chiseled. Allegedly, they had thousands of workers and 215 years to pull it off. Now, they have to add a lot of time because this structure doesn't make sense to be hand chiseled. So they have to, it took 215 years.
Nope.
Anu, the Lord of the Heavens, was succeeded by Enlil, who became the administrator of earth and the firmament. Enlil's own reign would one day give way to the younger, more sympathetic Enki, master of wisdom and creation. The succession of divine generations mirrors the succession of ages, each ruled by a more distant, more human-like deity. The pattern is striking. An elder god presides over paradise. His rule ends abruptly. A younger order takes his place, and the age of peace becomes the age of labor. It is possible the Greeks inherited these patterns indirectly through the Near East. The image of the scythe-wielding Skyfather, the fall from paradise, the rebellion of sons against fathers. These are Mesopotamian before they were ever Hellenic. In esoteric philosophy, the archetype of Saturn takes on an even deeper meaning. To the alchemists, Saturn's metal was lead, heavy, dull, and resistant to change. Yet lead was also the starting point of transformation, the base matter that could, through understanding, become gold. In the Kabbalistic tree of life, Saturn corresponds to the third Sephirah, Bina, understanding. Here, Saturn is the architect of limitation, the force that gives form to chaos. Without limitation, creation cannot exist. Without time, nothing can evolve. To the ancients, the Golden Age ended not because of evil, but because perfection cannot endure. Every paradise collapses into experience, and every god of creation becomes a god of death. Kronos, Saturn, Enlil. The names change, but the idea remains. The universe moves in cycles of birth, decay, and renewal. The Father is overthrown by the Son, who in turn becomes the Father, and the wheel of time turns once more.
Like I said, again, it's all very familiar. It all just goes in cycles. Cycles and circles. Same story, same lessons. So how do you choose which one to believe? Or how can you choose only one to believe? That's what I don't get. And I'm open to a little bit of everything being true, a little of everything being untrue, a lot of it being embellished, a lot of it being misquoted, mistranslated. I don't think there is any religious book that is 100% accurate to the way it was supposed to be depicted. But I do think that there, like I said, are good lessons in everything. And we just have to keep our minds and our hearts and our ears open to learning and accepting new information and allowing ourselves to see new developments and new clues and help create new experiences. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below, let me know what you want to see in the next one. Until next time, peace.